Hey, everybody. Josh Rosales here, and I am super excited to have Racheal with us this evening. And we have Lindsay, we have Ashley, we got Alex in the house, and we do a lot of Zoom calls. We got our Brew with the Crew every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. And then every month we have a Zoom call that is tailored towards entrepreneurs. The last time we had John Pitts and Daniel Thompson on. And then we also have a nonprofit call, which is helping nonprofits from A to Z, from setting up a nonprofit, filing taxes, networking, social media, you name it. We got a Zoom call for that with a special expert. But this call, out of a lot of our calls, this is probably one of my favorite calls. And this morning, of course, we had Coach Eric White, incredible life coach. But tonight, I'm talking about tonight with Racheal. I'm super excited because everybody that we bring on, there's a story. And Ashley Gaylor and Alex, us three, we get together, facilitate these calls, and I'm super excited to hear Racheal's story and her mighty pen, this program that she's created. And the best part about it is that we work together. Like we work together at the same company, and I'm seeing Racheal on LinkedIn, and I'm like, what in the world is she doing? She's like doing some crazy things. I'm like, what's these journals, like these 12-month financial planners? And I'm like, I got to get you on a Zoom call. And so I'm glad that it's here now. Racheal, I'm glad that you're on with us. Really quick, before we get into this, if we could go around the horn, and Ashley, if you could introduce yourself really quick. Lindsay, if you want to introduce yourself really quick. And then Alex, if you want to introduce yourself really quick. Then I'm going to introduce Racheal. We're going to dig into this, have some great discussion. I encourage you to just hop in, have discussion, because there is a huge story. There's a lot that goes into this. And I was reading on here, Racheal, you were saying, well, I'm not like, I was like, no, there's a story here. There is a lot behind. Like, it's not just, you're just like, oh, I'm just an average person. Like, oh, no. There is a story here. There's a background here. And I want to dig into that today or this evening. So Alex, without any further ado, or Ashley, whoever wants to go first, introduce yourself.
Hello, Ashley Gaylor here. I'm a financial services representative with New York Life. Happy to be here. Josh, Alex, and I do a lot of networking together. We are all on the board of Break-Thru Nashville. We love to serve our community, and when we come across little gems like this of what you're doing to help with financial literacy is top of the list. That is an incredible what we've seen, and we just can't wait to hear from you exactly what you got going on with it. It just seems like such a sensational program you got going on here. Kudos to you. We're excited to hear about it. Thank you for coming on with us today.
Thank you.
And Alex Okagu here. I'm a technology professional with a passion for arts and entertainment. Met Josh and Ashley while working and volunteering with a food box program that Josh was hosting through Break-Thru Nashville. And we all had a lot of things in common, found we had common ground about things we wanted to see happen inside the community. This kind of thing being one of them. So I'm looking forward to tonight. And that's a little bit about myself.
And I'm Lindsay Carnahan. I work for Iberia Bank, soon to be First Horizon Bank, in a matter of weeks, and ran across this podcast or this share when Josh shared it on LinkedIn and tagged Racheal. I got to speak with Racheal for a few minutes a couple of weeks ago when she introduced herself to myself and my manager, Tom. Cannot wait to see you in person. She's going to be my ambassador for this change in a couple of weeks, and super excited to be invited to this podcast.
You're on mute.
Super excited for everyone to be here. And I'm just super excited. Racheal, the good thing about this is that you and I, of course, work for the same company. But even though we work for the same company, we, you and I, we do things outside of the company that is nonprofit work, financial literacy. We were just talking a few minutes ago, for all of us on the call, like there's people that do a 9 to 5, right? They go to work, they punch in, they punch out, they do their job, they go home with their family, which is totally fine. It's totally cool. And then there's some others of us that is like, okay, I need, for us, not saying that it's anything like better than anybody else, because it's not, but just for us, like there's a void, there's a gap in there. It's like we see needs around us, and it's like, okay, I'm compelled, I'm driven to fulfill to fill a gap that I see, and to be driven to make people's lives better. And with this, coming across LinkedIn, Racheal, with your LinkedIn page and seeing what you're doing out there in the community and here in Rutherford County, I'm like, wow, what is this? And I think I was on LinkedIn. I saw your workbooks, and I was like, man, she's doing some incredible stuff. So first of all, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come on and to speak with us a little bit about Her Mighty Pen and what you've created. And so to hop into this, and everybody, all 4 of us, hop in, have any questions, discussions, whatever it is. So you've been working for First Horizon Bank for a while, but give us a little bit of your background, like you're coming up. What was your like coming up? What did that look like? How did you get into the financial services industry? A lot of people, when they're in the financial services industry, they kind of like just stumble into the financial services industry, and then they like, oh, I like it here, and this is kind of what I want to do. So if you could just really in the beginning kind of introduce yourself, what you do, and then I'd like to hear what on your journey. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into the financial services industry, and what was the need that you saw for your wheels in your head to start turning. And you also said that you owned a bakery too, right? You owned a bakery too. So you always been an entrepreneurial mindset there. And my question is, maybe when you were a child, you still had that entrepreneurial mindset. So tell us a little bit about that. I know it's a lot, but let's dive into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to keep this. I'm not short-winded at all, and there's so much story to tell. I try to get into it too much. But so starting with the entrepreneur mindset as a kid, 100% I was. When I was 9, we lived in this apartment, and I would go take the rocks out of the front of the apartment, paint them, and sell them to people out of the apartment for like 25 cents, Like I literally have been working on businesses since I was 8 or 9 years old, coming with ideas, things like that. I had a babysitting business when I was 10. I mean, yes, when I was a stay-at-home mom, I stayed at home for 11 years with my kids. And I was not someone that could just stay in, just do that. Like that just wasn't me. I needed to be doing something. And I opened a bakery. It was a small, at-home bakery. I did a ton of stuff. I actually did really well and got to a point where it was either I needed to move on or open up a brick and mortar. Well, as we know here in Murfreesboro, rent is very expensive for that kind of thing. That's a lot. I made little mini cupcakes. It's a lot of cupcakes to sell. And the time away that it would take to be in a bakery just really wasn't cohesive with my family. So I decided to say, okay, it was time to step away. Well, how I got into financial wellness and working with the bank and stuff, the financial sector is more personal. So when I was in my early 20s, I was a single mom. I worked 4 jobs. I was able to provide for my family, but that's the basic of what I could do. Like I was didn't learn a lot about finances growing up, didn't know how to handle my money, got myself into some debt. I had really bad credit. I would say when I was like 24, 25, my credit was like in the 500s, really, really bad. About husband, I had student loans, like we just were the typical American family. We were in debt, and it was what it was. It was how you live life. Nobody cared. Well, then 2008 happened, and he got laid off from his job, and I was working at the time, but definitely was not making enough to cover what we needed to live. We were very blessed in the fact that he was able to find something very quickly. And that company, when he went to go work for that company, it required him to travel a lot, and I had to stay home. Well, we hadn't had our youngest son yet. We had 2 daughters. I had mine, he had his. And then we were introduced to Dave Ramsey through his work. And we got the book, Total Money Makeover. And we both read it, and we're like, if people can do this with a little bit of money they're making, surely we can do something with what we've got going on. And so we read it, we started following a budget, and we started getting out of debt, and we started doing those things. And we went from being, I want to say, with our house and everything, probably about $200,000 in debt and a credit score of 520, to today, my home is paid for, and we've actually built the home. So that home is paid for. My credit score is in the high 7s, low 8s. And last year we hit just $1.3 million net worth. Since then, I've been divorced or getting divorced, and my net worth has went down a little bit, but I have all the tools that I need, and I know what I have to do to get it back up there. So I have a 5-year plan to get back up to $1 million net worth. So that's a little bit of my personal, how I found my way into financial wellness, but how I learned that I loved it and I wanted to share it with others. While I was a bakery owner, I took a business course, an 8-week business course, and I told that story to the business class I was in. And the head of the business class was like, hey, I would love for you to share this story with people. This is a great story. What can you teach people that you've learned? And so through that, I realized how many people are in that same situation, right? Like, you only see on TV the extremes, like you're doing extremely well, you're doing extremely bad, or here's how to get rich. But nobody shows you the disciplines and the things that it takes to be able to get there. And then you don't realize that you don't have to come from money, that you can absolutely build wealth and have, your dreams basically come true and be able to live a life of fulfillment, right? And so I then got to do a teach out to the next class of, what that looked like, what kind of steps we took, just sharing the knowledge that I had learned, not gatekeeping it, not saying I'm going to give it myself, but just sharing what I had learned. And we had learned a lot. We've moved past Dave Ramsey and into all these other things. And so we've learned a ton. And so being able to share that, and then that opened up a space where I realized there's a need for this. Okay, so then my husband and I, we opened a financial coaching business. And then COVID hit. And so it wasn't one of those things that people were going to be spending money on. So we run a group on Facebook called Break the Cycle Financial Coaching. And it's all about breaking the things that our parents taught us, the money stories, teaching you a better way to do things. And we do it completely for free. I do a budget challenge about twice a year to help people really get their budget into going in. And so during COVID, we had not had any debt for a very long time. We had paid off our home, we had a rental property, we were doing really, really well. And we had an emergency fund, fully funded, exactly where you want to be in life, right? And then we had an air conditioner break, and we had to replace all of our pipes and everything else. And so it was going to cost us about $21,000. So instead of eating into our emergency for 7 years, and I was like, you know what? I want this gone in a year. I don't like having debt. I'm going to go back to work. That's how I got introduced to First Horizon. That's where I came in there at. And I hadn't worked in 11 years. And I was like, oh, I don't know what this is going to be like. I had never worked in finance. I never even considered financial wellness being a part of banking. And then I got into the job. I started as a teller at Sam Ridley. And I realized how many people I could impact through the bank. And it lit a fire under me. And I've since moved into a banker position, and I get to help people with financial wellness every single day. And it really is my favorite part of the job. Anytime somebody comes to me, if they're getting a loan with me, they're learning how to pay it off as quickly as possible. Like I'm not here for that. Like we're going to keep you out of debt. We're going to get you building wealth. We're going to get you where you need to be. And it brings me so much joy to be able to get paid to do that every day. Like this is literally my dream job. And it just so happens that I fell into it. I had no idea, but it just fits. And I just love it so, so much. And so Her Mighty Pen didn't start off with financial journals. It actually started off as, and we'll get to this a little bit, as a way for me to give back because one of our coworkers had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And she was my boss at the time. And I really wanted to do something nice for her, put together a gift package, something like that. And I was thinking of like, oh, she's going to be in treatments. What can she do? What can I give her that'll give her something to do in her treatments? I'm always thinking about things like that. I'm a planner. Things like that. And I was like, oh, a coloring book. That would be great. A planner, a journal. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I could not find the thing that I thought would be great for her. Well, I'm a creative at heart. Cake things. I am an artist. I love to create. So I was like, you know what? I could probably just create her something. So I looked into it, learned how to do it, got on my Canva, got to work, and I created my first journal. And not being one to just do it one time, I was like, okay, I can help other people with this too. And so then we were able to put it online, and then I sold some and donated some to our local cancer center and got in touch with them. And so that's kind of where Her Mighty Pen started. The idea behind it is that women, we need ways to build ourselves up, like we can do great things. Nothing against you men, but like women can do amazing things when we really want to, or when we have the support to do so, right? And so that's kind of where the idea for the Her Mighty Pen came from. It's not a business I'm pursuing. It's just a little side thing that I'm using to give back and to tie it back into financial wellness to build an income stream, right? Because those are, let's be honest, like that can be something that you do, And so it started off as an idea to, oh, this is a way I could build income. And then, oh, this is also a way I can give back to my community. And so it all kind of tied in together. It lets me be creative. It lets me use all of the tools that I have to really move forward. And so so that's how it got started. I'm going to stop here because I know we have some more slides and so like I said, my story is I'm not typical. I began in customer service. That's where I did most of my work. And then I just found financial wellness and banking through really just passion and a desire to help others. And I think that's ingrained in a lot of people, especially the people on this, this podcast and this Zoom and our realm of work, like you really don't see too many people that are really there to help people. And when you do, they shine. And it's true. It's absolutely true. Like I can meet somebody and say, okay, that person, I know exactly what they're into. Like I get it. They're here to help people. They're not just here because it's another job or whatever. It's good hours or whatnot. Like they're truly here to help people. And I love surrounding myself with those types of people. It's really great, which is why I get along so great with Donna and do so much with her because she's kind of the same way.
So you said something, and I'm going to kick this off. You said anybody can do this. And that is so true because like I am this is just me, of the opinion that a lot of times people don't do something, whether it's lose weight, whether it's financially, whether it's spiritually, anything. A lot of times people don't do something because they're just lazy. I'm going to say lazy. The work is too hard and they give up. And, but yet, like for me, like Ashley Gaylor, Ashley Gaylor is in the gym every morning. For me, that's where I need to be, but I'm lazy. Like I don't get up and get in the gym. However, I'm driven with nonprofit community. Like I get 3-4 hours of sleep every night. I wake up in the morning at 5:30. I go to bed at 1-2 in the morning, constantly networking, emailing, just constant work. Now, the physical side is if I was doing that, I'd probably have a 6-pack and I probably it'd be insane. Like Ashley probably got a 6-pack and got biceps and all that. Alex, the same thing. Alex is we do things And then what we don't do is because we just find the work too hard, and it's the process, right? It's like, you got to fall in love with the process. It's the starting and it's the finishing is good, but it's the process and embracing the pain of the process, because there's so much pain to get to where you want to be. And others that have attained that goal, that are there, you look at a Dave Ramsey, you look at a celebrities, you look at different people that are like, wow, they made it. Well, you don't see them sleeping in the car. You don't see them eating rice and beans. You don't see them while others are doing this, they're staying home because they're putting away. Like, you don't see the sacrifice that people are making. And I think for me, it's like, anybody can do it, but are you willing to make the sacrifice? Are you willing to really, I believe in the saying, it's called success leaves clues. And when you really look at somebody successful and you study them and you become a student of what it is that they're doing, and not just study them, but getting around people like that, and cutting people out of your life that are sucking the energy out of you, and you become a student, you become enveloped in this like, I have to do it. Like, you become driven, and you transform into this. It's like, people tell me, my friends tell me, hey, Josh, you need to slow down. Like, you're 45 years old, you need to slow down. Why are you working so hard? Well, I work for the bank, which, like you, Racheal, I love it. Like, I've never worked somewhere where they give me the opportunity to do what I do best. And that is to help people. That is to get out there and network. That is to just to do what I do best. And I tell them, I said, that is my rest. Like, you may sit on the couch and watch an NFL game or an NBA game. Like, I have to catch the reruns on YouTube, because I just don't have the time to sit down and watch a football game or a basketball game, because I'm either networking or doing something. However, I find rest and relaxation in what I do. Like, it rejuvenates me. Yes, my body gets tired and I have to go to sleep, but it rejuvenates me, and it's just a drive that I have. And so, it's I think you have to make up in your mind, it's for anything. I think the battle always starts in your mind first. If you can get over that, then that's what Coach Eric White was talking about this morning, is really doing that. But you have really shown just talking, I mean, tonight, is like, you're right. Anybody can do it, but you got to have a plan, and you have to work that plan day in and day out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that another thing that keeps people really stuck and from doing things that they're wanting to, whether it be lose weight or get out of debt or, build wealth, whatever it is, it's not always laziness. A lot of times it's lack of knowledge, and things are overcomplicated.
Touche.
Right? There's too much information out there. There's only one way. Like, if you listen to Dave Ramsey, you have to follow exactly strict what he says, or it's not going to work. That's not true. There's certain things that he's great at, that his advice is fantastic. There's other things I tell people not to listen to him about, because you have to find dieting. I like to tell that this is how I teach my budget classes. Dieting and budgeting are essentially the exact same thing. You have to track your information, whether it be calories, money in, money out, whatever that looks like. You have to find a plan that works for you, find the budget. There's so many different ways to budget. You don't have to overcomplicate things. Keep it simple. Find what works for you. Make goals. You have to have goals, right? We all know that. Like, that's necessity. And you have to plan your cheat days, right? You have to give yourself leeway to spend money when you may not want to. Like, I am definitely not a believer in, I can't do anything fun or I'm never going to make my goals. That's not true. It's like a diet. If you don't plan a cheat day every now and then, you're going to blow your whole calories. It's not going to work. So a budget has to be the same way, getting out of debt, doing these things, you have to have room for the fun. And, you have to look at different ways. And so I think that there's so much information out there that a lot of times it can be overcomplicated, and people get frustrated with it. And they're like, I just can't do this, because they've never had somebody to sit down and simplify it and show them, if you just do this, find what works for you, you will be okay.
That is so true.
It's like drinking from a fire hose, some of the information out there, right?
Exactly.
And the other adage is, you can't plan a trip until you know where you want to go, right? So setting those goals, having a clear idea of where you want to be, and then making your plan to achieve that.
Yep.
And your information, the way you've lined it out, I think is your story is fascinating. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Racheal, what is the Passion to Profit, an 8-week online business course? What is that?
So that's a business course that was originally designed for bakers. That's the course I took that got me to where I am now. Her name, it's ran by a woman named Janelle Copeland. She is a bakery, used to be a bakery owner out in California. She owned the Cake Mamas. She's been on Food Network. Like, she is just amazing. She won Cake Wars. Like, she's amazing. Her and her husband had a similar story. They went bankrupt. They almost lost their house. And then she opened a bakery in the middle of the recession in 2008, and then just learned everything she needed to learn, built a huge, great, amazing business. Then last year, she just actually sold the business about 2 years ago, because she's now moved on to teaching people how to run successful businesses. And she has taught people how to go from being an at-home, very small, you're selling to your cousins, to opening a storefront bakery and being super successful. Like, the people that have taken her class are so amazing. There's so many, it's all women mostly, so amazing. She's had thousands and thousands of students. I am so blessed that I get to be able to be a part of that. For that class, I'm an accountability coach and an affiliate. And so I help people find the class, and then I'm an accountability coach. And so while people are going through the class, I help them and guide them and kind of, get them through it. And so it's basically, she teaches them marketing, she teaches them business plans, she teaches them literally everything you need to know to run a business. And her husband have a podcast called the Push Podcast. He works for Apple. She literally just does the coaching now. She is incredible. And I've sent so many people her way, just because her business class doesn't just apply for like bakeries. You can use it for anything. And like, I still use the things that I learned today. She started me on a love of reading. I listen to all kinds of business audiobooks now, because during the class we had a book a week. And if you're looking for a really good, like, uplift your spirits entrepreneurial book, I'm going to recommend The Third Door. Oh my gosh, favorite book ever. Love it. But she really got me on that. She kind of taught me all about marketing, all about pricing, knowing your products, knowing your price, like all of these things, and taught me everything I know. And I've been able to use the things that I know to, one, help myself at work, two, help myself in businesses. So yeah, that is just something that I just love to do. And I've done that for a couple of years now, and it's just, she's amazing. And yeah, that's a really, really awesome class.
So what does this quote mean to you?
So this quote for me is from one of my favorite books, You Are a Badass at Making Money. And I am very women-centered, you'll find.
What was the name of the book?
It's You Are a Badass at Making Money.
Oh, I'm gonna write that one down too.
Yeah, she has a whole series of books. They're like, they're geared towards women for sure, but definitely give it a read. It's all about finding your inner badass and not being afraid to do what you need to do to make things happen. And so for me, this is my favorite thing I like to say. Rich is just being able to afford all the things and experiences required to fully experience your most authentic life. So when we think of wealth and being rich, we think of, oh, I need to have $1 million or $2 million or whatever it is. And I'm going to have all the cars, and I'm going to have all this and the big house and whatever. That's not what rich means to me. Rich means to me is that I have enough money to live the life I want to live. I want to take my family on vacations. I want my kids to experience other countries. Like, what is important to you? What values do you have? How can money help you do that? Because money, that's all it is this tool, right? Like, it is just a tool to help you do the things that you want to do. So rich to you maybe mean you don't need that much money. You just need to experience, like, your social life needs to be a certain way. So it's really, that's just my favorite way to look at that. To look at that word rich.
Are you liking this, Lindsay?
I am super excited to just, sponge everything off of her. And I'm excited for the transition so that I can call you guys on a daily basis and just get advice. So
absolutely. I'm excited for that too.
I have so many questions that I will probably be asking you here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And vice versa. We'll be asking y'all too, because I mean,
Oh, I know.
we're using some of the systems as well. And so we're going through that. So I mean, together, and I think not just like for work, but I think in life and in community, like when we work together and we have that bond that we can that connection. I mean, it just helps. It just helps because I mean, we're the same way, you know, going through, you know, the through certain systems. It's like, okay, now we can reach out to you and you reach out to us. But no, I'm super excited about this. So your mission to so Uplift. So Hermione Penn was created to support women going through some difficult times, which you had touched on a little bit there, and definitely can hear the passion that you have to help women. And you know, it's so true, you know, and you know, I say lazy, and I would probably say, okay, I need to rephrase that. They didn't get the memo. You know, John Hope Bryant says, you know, people just don't get the memo, you know, and so a lack of knowledge. But to educate, you know, tell us about the Uplift, the educate, and the give back.
Yeah. So uplifting, really, I really wanted to, because I came from an abusive relationship past. I've been, you know, I've seen women in my life go through those. And really, women, we tend to go inside of ourselves more in difficult situations. We're not ones to ask for help. We're not ones to seek out, you know, support when we're going through difficult times. We're just going to handle it and we're going to move on. You're not going to ever know there's a problem with us. And that in itself is a huge issue in the community, right? With women, is we just don't, it's really hard for us to accept help. And so just putting things out there that allow the resource to be there for someone when they need it, without saying, oh, if you need me, I'm here. Just putting it out there. And so that's kind of like where the first journals came in at, and now with the financial journals, you know, I'm using those to educate not just people who want to educate themselves or like a good planner, but we're giving them to women coming out of shelters of abusive situations. And at working in banking, you understand, like, you see women who have nothing to do with their finances, right? The man handles all of the finances. The man passes away. She doesn't know anything what to do. They're lost. Or you get them where they've been in abusive situations and control situations. They're in a shelter, they're trying to come out, and they don't know what to do. They don't know, you know, they're not necessarily going to be able to go to a class to teach them financial education. And so being able to provide these journals, which I'm excited to get into the journals too in a little bit, as a way to self-teach them, to get them started and give them something to work with. Because there's a nonprofit in Murfreesboro that works with domestic violence shelters. And I actually asked them, I'm a part of Rutherford Cable, and I asked them, I said, do you ever have someone that can come teach these women financial education? They're like, you know, it's real hard because they're just coming, they're in emergency situations, they're getting out of shelters, they're in emergency situations. They're not right for that kind of thing. Great. Let me come up with an idea that I can give them to take with them to do it when they are ready, or to give them just a starting point and a guide, because they're going to need that, right? Because even if you're not making hardly any money, you've got to budget it. I mean, it just is what it is, you know. I've heard so many people say, I don't make enough money to budget. That is a lie. I don't care if you make super poverty, you're on food. I do not care. You should be on a budget. It will help you to save and get out of the situation you're in. And so being able to, you know, provide and educate those women that really truly need it is just such a blessing. And I'm lucky enough that I come across these women every day, because here's the thing, it's all about the knowledge, right? It is more acceptable to talk about sex than it is to talk about money. And that is a very sad fact, right? It's taboo to talk about what you make. It's taboo to talk about how you spend your money. No, it shouldn't be. Let's share what we know. Let's talk about it, so you know if you are doing better than you thought you were, or what you can do to be different, or how you can make money differently. There are so many ways to earn an income and to make money, and to, you know, and to build wealth for yourself. There's no excuse. You know, if we just have to teach the people and show them like there are other ways, you know. And so just being able to just get in there at the right time to say, hey, you can do this, you know, and offer that support is just really important to me. And then that's kind of the giving back thing. So every single journal I sell, a portion of the proceeds goes to allow me to buy those journals, to give to those centers, to give to the cancer treatment centers, to give to, you know, the domestic violence centers, to give to women whose husbands passed away and they need help, to give to churches, just to really get that out there to women going through difficult times. And I only have a couple of journals that I've made so far, but I plan on making more. I plan on making daily planners, and I plan on making more coloring books, and all of those things are going to go towards this mission of really giving them and putting them in the hands of the people that truly need them.
You know, it's crazy because there's so much on YouTube as well that it's like your business can be in the palm of your hand, and whether it's your Android or your iPhone, like you can, all your distribution, I mean, it's crazy that you know, I was looking at a business on YouTube. It was a t-shirt business, and it's like you don't even have to have your own stock. Like you can like just get the orders, and some other company will just send it to these people, and you don't even have to have like all you have to have is your phone, and you got to go on Amazon, go on these other sites and see what t-shirts are selling the best, create your own t-shirts, and then just sell. It's insane. Like I sit down with people, and you know, I'm like, they're like 19, 20, 21 years old entrepreneurs, and I'm just like, holy cow, they are like Instagram business, flipping shoes, flipping clothes. They're going to Goodwill and getting clothes, inviting their friends to come over. They're doing a photo shoot, and then they're like selling clothes that they're going out to, you know, to the vintage stores, not necessarily, and probably Goodwill too, but to all these vintage stores. And then they're like, they all on your phone, taking the pictures and uploading it. And it's just, there's so much information. We live in a time that there's just so much information out there with Google and Facebook and Instagram, and it's all for free. Like it's for free. And if it's not for free, research it. There's probably a free something like that. But it's just it's insane what's out there. So I mean, totally. So you got your current projects coming up, and you know, tell us a little bit about Fight Like a Girl series.
So the Fight Like a Girl series was the books that I made for the coworker of mine that was dealing with breast cancer. And it's a coloring book / journal. And so it's a guided journal that asks questions like, how am I practicing self-care today? What am I grateful for? Just questions like that really will keep you as you're going through cancer treatments, or really any difficult time, because it's not specific just for cancer treatments. It's just the covers are made for that. You're going through different time, keeping yourself in gratitude and finding out what you can look forward to in the day, finding the positive, I think is really healing when you're going through a difficult journey. You know, and so it's got that, and then it's just got a place where you can just like write down whatever you're thinking. It's got a notes page, and then there's also, I designed a bunch of coloring pages, and for people to color, they've got like uplifting sayings like be brave, and just really cute little pictures. And I wish I had something to share with y'all, but like just a really cool, it's like 100 pages. It's a mix between a coloring book and a journal, because I love the idea of planners and journals. I am not good at keeping up with them. I will buy them, and then they will go in a drawer, and you know, that's my ADD talk, and I just can never keep up with them. But with the coloring book portion of it, it gives me an outlet to do something else and to think. And you know, drawing and being creative really does open up your thoughts, and it gets you thinking, and it gets you creating, you know, begats creativity. And so even just coloring can really get your mind going and help you like think, solve problems, and just creatively doing so. And so I just put these together, and I really do love them. I color in one myself, but so yeah, so the Fight Like a Girl series is the series of coloring books. Specifically when ordered, these funds go towards providing these books to cancer treatment centers for the women going through chemo and stuff. And so that's kind of why it's my Fight Like a Girl series. Yeah. This is my baby, my financial
This
wellness
is it
one.
right here.
I worked so hard on this. Oh my gosh, I love these things. I took everything I knew about financial wellness and put it into a easy to understand, simple guide. So in this journal, it's a full 12 months financial plan. I've got one here I'm going to go over. In the very first page of it, it talks about my story. I welcome them. I tell them a little bit about my background, how I was in debt, what my credit score looks like, because I really think that people need to see people who didn't start off with money and then lost it and get it back again, right? They need to see that really everyday people can reach their financial goals. I talk about goal tracking, and we talk about, I show them how to pay off debt and the two main ways, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. And I give examples of how to do that and what that looks like. It's got debt payoff trackers in there. It's got monthly calendars in there. There's a page for meeting notes, because it is so important to sit down with yourself and your spouse.
Do you have one there with
twice.
you?
I do have one here with me.
I saw you looking at it. I want to let us see it. Let us see it.
I will. I'll share it in a second. Hold on. Let me put it up here so we can see it.
You got me excited, Racheal.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can turn my camera. I don't know if I will be able to.
No, it's fine. If you can't, that's totally fine.
Okay, I'll try to like do this. Can y'all see that a little bit?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Okay, so like it's got, this is just the beginning. And so it's got how to budget. We talked about that a little earlier, like finding the right method and like strategies for that. These are just the sample pages, and it's got monthly budget pages, income trackers, savings trackers, monthly expense trackers. And then I've got tips. And then we start off with the yearly goals. So you can set yearly goals for yourself. I've added, of course, the coloring concept, because I definitely believe, like, I love to color in the creative aspect of it. So you can color for your savings. They've got bill trackers. And then every quarter, it's broken down into quarters. I share challenges. So like for first quarter, for example, it's got a quote. It says, "Don't be discouraged by how far you have to go. Be excited about where you are going." And so each quarter will have a quote. Each quarter has a challenge. And so the first quarter's challenges are: write down a list of short-term and long-term financial goals. Look at your spending from last month. Sort each item based on wants and needs, and what did you learn? And then check your credit report by visiting annualcreditreport.com. So there's something like that every quarter. There is a money mantra that I have every quarter. So this month, the first quarter is: money is an unlimited resource that is always flowing my way. Because I definitely believe that when you put messages and you live your life according to how you want it to be out in the universe is going to provide for you every single time. There's book suggestions. The first two are Total Money Makeover and You Are a Badass at Making Money. And then I put in a statistic so they don't feel so alone. So like one of my favorites is only 39% of Americans have enough cash to cover an emergency, $1,000 emergency. And so those are every single quarter. There's something to like really help them get on track. You know, we talk about things like calling your service-based businesses once a year to make sure you're getting the best rate, you know, things like that. And then each quarter they have a goal tracker. There's literally so much information in here. A debt tracker to where they can, you know, track how they're paying off their debt. And I'll turn that back around. They've got a monthly planner they can plan out things. And then they just go every month. It just repeats, and it gives them all of those tools every single month to really like hone in on it.
So is this set for adults only, or do you think like teenagers would benefit from this?
I mean, honestly, yeah, it's mostly geared towards adults. I actually have a YouTube series on finance for kids. I haven't looked at it in a really long time, so I have no idea if it's getting traction. It's just something I put out there a while ago that teaches kids how to budget and what kind of things they should look for and stuff like that. So that's, hey, there's another idea for a planner geared towards kids. You know, I'm always coming up with different ideas and by talking to people and seeing what needs are out there. But a kid could definitely use this. It's just because the debt trackers and stuff are in there, it's more based on people that are ready to make changes. So these are geared towards adults, but I have one, my 21-year-old does it. So yeah. And then towards the end of the book, it's got that's a wrap, and it asks questions. What did I learn this year? What challenges did I experience, and how can I prepare them for the future? What made the biggest impact on my financial wellness journey? There's a time to celebrate place where it says, this year I paid off this much money in debt, and how much money they saved, how many goals they created, what they're most proud of. And then it has a place to start their goal for the next year. So yeah, I really poured my heart and soul to these things. I love them. And since we're not on a work call, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I give out sample packets to customers all the time that has the basic information that they can just take home and use however they want. I never tell them about the journals. I'm just like, here you go. Here's something. Here's a way to get you started on budgeting. And so I use that as an education tool at work as well. So yeah, so that journal has my heart. I put so much work into it, and then being able to share it and let it be a resource to people on top of letting it be something that can help others. Like, it's just, I love it so much.
That is so true, because, you know, I think a lot of people, and, you know, looking at the financial services industry, like across the board, you know, across the board, every bank, like, if we, and Lindsay, you probably, you know, you probably see this as experiences as well, but there's sometimes just across the board, and I've worked at many different banks, but across the board, a lot of bankers don't really, they know what they're trained to do, but their skill set is not to that point where they could sit down with someone and say, let's do A, B, and C, and here's the resources. And even with some of the websites, the bank websites, like they have, I mean, a lot of bankers don't know. There's actually, like, you can go in there and they'll tell you how to prepare to buy a mortgage. It'll tell you about budgeting. Like, there's resources on the website that bankers just go past every single day. And it's like, all you have to do is go onto the website and you can show all these many different resources. But it's something that is so that, you know, there's not a lot of like in-depth training. There's training on the process and how you do it, but like to really go deep into having a conversation. What's the questions that you ask? Open-ended questions, identifying the opportunities. How do you really follow up on that and really help somebody? And that's why one of the things that I really like is that that our company has partnered with the Hope Inside Centers. And that is incredible, because I talk about that a lot, and a lot of people don't even know about that. But, you know, with your 12-month financial wellness planner and the education that is out there, that we ourselves have to be, you know, as one of our executives always says, you know, we got to be sharpening our skill set. So, you know, it's the story about the big guy and the little guy, and there was a contest. Have you heard this, Lindsay? There's a contest, and the contest is they have to cut down this tree. They have to cut down trees, and the one that cuts down the most trees wins. And so the big guy is cutting down the trees. The little guy every 30-45 minutes leaves and then comes back, and then he leaves and comes back. And at the end of it, you know, it's like the little guy cut down the most trees, and the big guy's like, I've been out here all the time. I've never left. And how is it that you cut down the most trees? And the little guy saying, that's because every 30 to 45 minutes, I'm taking a break. I'm going to go and sharpen the axe, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to chop more trees down. And it's like, we got to, like, you have to every day. It's like, and if you don't, it's not even, it doesn't even take long for you to get dull. Like it takes maybe weeks, days, even hours for you to get dull, for your skill set to get dull. If you're not doing something every day, you're going to get dull at it. And then every day something new is evolving. And so you're missing out. And so that's why it's so important that you're constantly, you know, not saying you have to, but you constantly need to be, you know, watching YouTube and listening to YouTube and listening to podcasts and audiobooks and reading books. And it's just pouring that content into you to where, like, you're just obsessed with, okay, now I got all this content. Now I need to, like, start sharing the content and start just helping people. And so it's sharpening that skill set every single day. And you can tell when you talk to people if their skill set is sharp, and if they're sharpening it because of just the way that they speak and what they got coming off of off the top of their head. And definitely for the 12-month financial wellness planner, Racheal, like you are definitely sharpening that skill set. And I can just tell, just talking with you, there's so much more in here that you're just like, I can't wait to get on paper. I can't wait to like bring it to reality. And it's just amazing. And we have to, and our customers, we have to take that extra step, because we have to show them that we care. We have to show them that we have their best interest at heart. Why, they're banking with us, and it's like, hey, I can help you. I can help you with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you think, Ashley and Alex?
I think the content's been excellent. This is definitely something that I found it interesting that you said you made it very interesting, more akin to a coloring book, because there are so many people that go out and get these journals, and they have stacks and stacks of journals all over the place, and you open them up out of their drawer and they're empty. So the idea is there, especially at the beginning of the year, when someone says, I'm going to get my year in check, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go through this journal, I'm going to do all these things. And then they get looking at the paper, and something does not compel them because they don't feel like they have a guide. I think this is incredible that it provides a guide all the way through to help them when they feel like they're stuck. And at the same time, you're imparting this knowledge from your knowledge base and everything that you've gained over the years, the struggles, the difficulties, and the successes, and you're compiling it in such a way that it's very easy to kind of walk someone by the hand through that process of experiencing that themselves. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. One thing that really strikes with me is budgeting, right? Because that's something that, being in our industry, we deal with a lot. It's like what you said, when people say they don't have enough money to budget, well, most of the times I'll find out, and people, once you got a tool like this, you start putting stuff down on paper. I had no idea I spent $240 a month on coffee.
Yep.
There you go. That's $240 a month at Starbucks. I mean, and until you get that stuff on paper, like you said, people don't realize that. So having something that they can actually put it down, the old adage is the numbers don't lie, right? So
yep.
You get them down, and then you figure out where you can go from there, and then you can find a way forward. And this tool that you've created, because it is a valuable tool, and that people can get a hold of, be able to use, be able to help, set themselves up for success, and be able to see the numbers. And this is like we were talking about, it's a lot like weight loss, right? If you're trying to lose weight and you're busting it every day, you're doing everything you can, you don't see the numbers come off the scale, you get discouraged. Well, it's the same thing with trying to get your finances in order. You're doing all these things, but nothing's moving out of the red, right? Well, there's probably something in there. There's a reason why this can help you, keep you accountable, and show you maybe where your deficiencies are. So I'll tell you the truth, I'm in love with it. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this page, Racheal.
So the custom collection came about. I am one to definitely take my journals with me wherever I go. And I took them to a Rutherford cable meeting, and I happened to be sitting at a table with a realtor who was like, I could really use something like that. And I was like, well, I love to design things, and why not? Let's see what we can do. And so we developed a journal for her that's very similar. It has a lot of the same things as the financial wellness planner, but it's geared towards people buying a house. So the advice is like what you need to do in month one, what you need to do, the houses, or the little savings coloring book is like houses for down payment or whatever. And it's got like her logo on the inside of the book and her little message to her customers. And so I was like, this is a great tool that I could really help other business owners to have a tool for their clients to be able to teach them financial wellness, because let's be honest, bankers aren't the only ones that have to help their clients with financial wellness sometimes. If realtor has somebody that, isn't ready to buy a house, like, well, we can help them get there through this option. If a mortgage lender, same thing, if they have clients that are just not quite there, hey, here's a tool for you. You can brand it for your company, for your business, for yourself, whatever. You can put your own tips in there. Like, we can really get together and collaborate and really make it your own. The covers are individual, the names are individual. Like, it's really customizable to what your needs are for your clients that need financial help. And then it looks like you're the one that's like, here, I did this for you. And that just looks really good for your customers. Your customers are going to appreciate you. They're going to really think that you are awesome, going the extra mile to get them where they need to be. You're not just there at the end where they're at their goal. You're going to help them get to that goal, even if they're not there yet. And so just really having this resource to be able to work with those kinds of partners that have a need for financial wellness, but aren't necessarily versed at themselves, to be able to provide that service for them.
You're on mute.
Oh yeah, you can move it, Josh. Sorry. Oh, Josh is on mute.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I talk to people a lot and I'm like, hey, if you're wanting to buy a house, then you really need to be looking at like 6 months, 12 months earlier. So then you can, whatever you got to do. And there's just people that have like, oh, I'm gonna meet with a mortgage rep. And then they come back, are like, hey, I need a cashier's check for my closing. I'm like, what? No, actually, we could buy a house. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really, really cool.
Yeah,
so
they never know.
Yeah, you just never know until you actually get into the details.
Yeah. And the realtor I worked this on, she actually turned this into a workshop. And so we hosted a workshop for people looking to buy a home, and she gave the journals as a gift for people just starting the process. Like, it's such a great tool. And yeah, I'm just very excited that I was able to come up with those collaborations.
So this is what you can find us. So you can search you on Amazon. Really cool.
Yes, all of the journals are available on Amazon, only on Amazon, because honestly, that's the most inexpensive place to print them. I don't have to order them. You can order them yourself. They come directly. We were talking about that earlier, right? They come directly from a company. I don't have to worry about shipping costs. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Amazon, KDP, if you're ever looking to write a book or anything else, they have a self-publishing. They will print it and ship it and put it on their website, and it is amazing.
Sweet. I need to get somebody connected with you because we're gonna talk.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk because I think that we can do a lot of networking together.
And there's a nonprofit. Her name's Andrea, and she is called Scars Uncovered in Nashville. And what her nonprofit does is they work with individuals that have been burn victims. And this is cool for everybody. So, but I'm just thinking, I'm like, man. So we can find you on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. My 3-year-old knows TikTok very, very well. It's like, no, Daddy, I'm on TikTok. I like TikTok. And I'm like, what are you doing on TikTok? You don't need to be on TikTok. What are you doing on TikTok? Like, no, I like TikTok. And I'm just like, you know what? This is like 3 years old. She knows how to get on YouTube, knows how to get on TikTok, knows how to, she gets our phone, and I'm like, you're 3 years old. You're not supposed to know this stuff, like how to navigate my phone and your mom's phone. It's crazy.
I'm going to tell you, don't sleep on TikTok, because there is so many people out there offering free advice on TikTok. Coaches are using it. People are using it to get the word out, to teach people things. I accidentally went viral on TikTok about a year ago. I don't do much with it. I will be starting pretty soon because I'm a baker and I like to cook. Most of my stuff is cooking and financial tips. So it's two things that do not go together. But I had a video of making French toast go viral, and I have about 20,000 followers on TikTok. And I'm definitely not using them like I need to be. So I will be going back into those. That's an avenue I plan on pursuing pretty soon. But TikTok is where it's at right now. Like, that is where you're going to talk about growing business and getting people to support you. Like, that's the number one place to be right now. TikTok is amazing for business growth.
What was so compelling about the French toast?
It had alcohol in it.
There you go.
It was made with pumpkin spice Baileys or bourbon or something like that. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, for those that want to connect with Racheal, you can connect with her on Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok, also Instagram. And then we certainly, Racheal, first of all, thank you for accepting my invitation. And I know we went back and forth. You're like, so what's it about? Like, give me some more information. I'm like, sweet. No, that's good. That's good, because it's like, this is really, really good. And so first of all, thank you so much for accepting my invitation to be on our Zoom call this evening. And then it's so gratifying to know that within our own company that there's somebody else, like there's a few of us that I know that are just totally engaged, and we're like going above and beyond, you being one of them. And so seeing you on LinkedIn, and now and then messaging back and forth, and then now being on the Zoom call, like, this is cool. And I definitely want to continue to network with you, especially with Break-Thru Nashville. And then with Break-Thru Nashville, we work with a little over 27 different nonprofits across the state. We had our Farmers to Family Food Box program. We passed out over close to 2 million food boxes to all over the state of Tennessee, helping so many people. And so it's that is something that I definitely want to continue to network with you on. Ashley, Lindsay, Alex, any closing thoughts that you have before we end? And then Racheal, I'm going to give you the end comments.
Well, Racheal, I just want to thank you for being so inspiring. There's not enough individuals out there like you. And I won't even try to say that I'm anything like you, but in my market, I truly try to build a network and a space for people that really can use that financial wellness piece. And you just bring it to a completely different level. I'm super excited to get to meet you in person in a couple of weeks. I'm so blessed that I'm going to be able to be your coworker in 3 weeks too. So thank you both for inviting me. And I'm definitely going to pick up your books and add you on TikTok, because I am definitely a TikToker.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to meet you guys too. I cannot wait to go down there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. It was very informative.
And I'll say over the course of this call, I learned much. I went ahead and ordered your journal and your Fight Like a Girl book. So I'm sure my wife will be happy to get into that. Yep. And I will spread the word as I come across other people who could use this knowledge. So thank you very much. This has been a phenomenal experience.
Definitely. We need to do a Zoom call, Racheal, with my board, and see how we can network each other. We go downtown Nashville on Mondays, and we pass out shoes and other items down to the homeless, and we're getting involved. We're partnering with Apollo Middle School here in Nashville, which has a lot of impoverished kids. We have Sabrina Ponte, who was the first runner-up for Miss Tennessee. She's she partners with us, and just a lot of other people that are partnering. So we're always just walking billboards of what we do and who we connect to. So thank you. So really quick, Racheal, you give us the books that you recommend, and then any final comments, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, so book recommendations. I am
the ones that you were talking about. Yeah.
So I love Audible. I am one to listen to a podcast or an audiobook in my car at all times. There's hardly ever music going on. It's always something like that. And my favorite books are entrepreneur books. Like, they're really just good. So just a couple of like my top 3 books I'll give y'all. Number 1 for business, Profit First. It is such a good financial book for businesses. It's so informative, and it's really, really a great way to teach yourself to make profit from day one for those for-profit businesses. My second favorite book is just so entertaining and so inspiring. It's called The Third Door by Alex Bannon. And it's basically this college kid who sets the task force to find out the best piece of information from every single like top performing, I'm talking Bill Gates, Maya Angelou, like he sets out to like get their best piece of advice. And it's just the story of how he does that. It's amazing. To give you an idea about it, when I was first starting to listen to those types of books, they're kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes those books can be boring. I listened to that book on a trip to Georgia from Tennessee. It's about an 8-hour drive. And my son was with me. And in the beginning of the book, I was listening to, he's like, Mom, can we please listen to the radio? I was like, well, let's just get to lunch and then I'll turn it off and you listen to the radio. Well, by the time we got to lunch, I said, do you want me to turn on the radio? He goes, no, I want to finish the book. And he was 9 at the time. So that's how good and entertaining and inspiring that book is. My 9-year-old even loved it. And so that's that book. And then my favorite money book is I can't pick just one. There's so many good ones out there. I definitely suggest Total Money Makeover for somebody just starting their journey. You Are a Badass at Making Money is a really good way to think about getting out of your own way when it comes to building wealth. And so those are probably my top 2 favorites. For anything I'm getting into more than 3 books, I understand this, but it's a really hard subject. I really love these kinds of things. If you want to learn more about wealth building and things like that, Money Masters the Game by Tony Robbins is a really good one to listen to as well. Again, some of these books could be a little boring, but there's so much great information in them. So those are my favorite books. And then what was the other question? I got so tied up in books, I couldn't.
No, that was it. I'm just so excited that we had the opportunity to have you on. Definitely, for those of you that are watching, check out Racheal, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, social media. We got that. We'll upload this to Facebook as well for others to watch and connect with you. Thank you again, Racheal, for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to the continued network in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And for those of you, just one final thing. If you do order any of the journals, please, please, please leave a review. The way Amazon works is nobody can see your stuff if there's not a lot of reviews on it. So I'm really trying to get some reviews in there so I can make bigger impact, sell more books, so I can give more books and give more education. I really, really appreciate it. But thank you so much for having me on, Josh. This has been amazing. I was a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I never know. Like, I have a bit of imposter syndrome and I always think I'm smaller than I am. And, so I just really like to share my information. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to get on here and do so.
No, definitely. Well, from all of us to all of y'all out there that are going to be watching this, thank you so much for watching, taking time. Visit Racheal, connect with her, and connect with us too. Break-Thru Nashville. We are on Facebook and Instagram. The through is THRU, Break-Thru Nashville. We're doing a lot of stuff in the community, connecting with a lot of entrepreneurs and social media personalities. And of course, we just love connecting and talking about topics that impact our lives. So from all of us, thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to y'all soon. Good night.